Hey, so my name's Jacob, and I'm a tutor here at Chegg Tutors. So today I'm going to be talking to you about fluid intelligence. Now, before I talk to you about fluid intelligence, I just wanted to take some time to talk to you about intelligence as a whole. So there's many different ways that you can view intelligence. You could view it as your ability to memorize and recite information. You could view it as your ability to solve various logical puzzles. You could also view it as your ability to be able to navigate a metro system in a city you've never been to. All of these are equally valid views of intelligence because intelligence is not one thing. That having been said, Raymond Cattell came along, and he and his graduate student John Horn came up with the Cattell-Horn theory of fluid and crystallized intelligence, which is one of the first times that they actually broke down intelligence to see if there were different ways that we could actually view it. So in this video, we're going to be talking about fluid intelligence. So what is fluid intelligence then? So fluid intelligence is your ability to recognize patterns, engage in abstract reasoning, and problem solve. It's often viewed as street smarts. This is because it's not really all that well tested for in formalized education. For instance, if you think back, way back whenever you were in elementary school, you were given a spelling list by your teacher, which you had to take home and you had to memorize how to spell all the words, and then you had to memorize definitions for some of those words. And then a week later, you went back to school and your teacher gave you a spelling test. And then you had to retrieve all of the knowledge that you learned and studied. That's crystallized education, crystallized learning. And that's what's tested for a lot in formalized education. Now, fluid intelligence would have been if your teacher had you go and learn a bunch of etymology, and then you came to school, and your teacher was just randomly gave you a word and was like, "Okay, what do you think this means?" And you had to use the knowledge you already had, aka the etymology you had to learn, and you had to try and figure out what that new word meant. So that would be more fluid intelligence. Fluid intelligence is powered by working memory. Now, if you've taken a cognitive psychology course, then you'll be very familiar with working memory. Now, for those of you who haven't taken a cognitive psychology class, I'll break it down a little bit. So working memory is a theoretical concept that cognitive psychologists have come up with, and it's a framework that we look at, and it is in charge of the processing, retention, and manipulation of new information that we take in. Do not get confused with short-term memory, which is an older concept that came out of the multi-store model. And because short-term memory is only responsible for the retention of the information, is not involved in the manipulation of it at all. That's why we have working memory instead of short-term memory now. So, how do we test for fluid intelligence, you may ask? Well, so there's something called a Raven's progressive matrices, which is a collection of 60 puzzles like the one you see right here, and it's given to the person, and they have to look at the puzzle and try and figure out logically which of the options best fits with all of the other options that are given. For instance, on the one over here, you can see that as it goes from left to right, they add another dot onto the top column on each row. So therefore, logically, you could figure out that the ninth piece would be number 3. So that would be the one that you needed. Again, whenever you're taking Raven's progressive matrices tests, each one, there's 60 of them, and each one gets harder. This would be an earlier problem. So that is fluid intelligence. If you want to have me help you with any other field in psychology, or any math up to calculus, or any science withstanding physics, then you can go and look me up on Chegg Tutors, and I can help you with that. Alrighty.